$2,000 a week. That's a car. That's a car. You know, you do $2,000 a week times 50 weeks a year and 2 weeks vacation. That's $100,000 a year. You don't have to work the rest of the week.
Well, I'm sorry. Think of the retirement communities who maybe need something on Sunday evening, and they don't want people in there spreading germs. But if you said, hey, just set up the big screen, I think we may have talked about this in the last episode. But
it's true.
But I'm thinking about it.
People are like, oh, I can't do it or whatever. People need this. People are cooped up. And the states that have opened up right now, where we are on June 13th, states have reopened. And it looks like they've reopened prematurely. And the states that have reopened are seeing a massive spike in COVID-19 cases. And there are a couple of places that are getting overwhelmed now. And we're seeing a big spike, and we may see another one in the fall. Don't be surprised if the stay-at-home orders are reinstated in the near future in a lot of places. And so what that means is that there are people all over the country and all over the world who are locked away, bored out of their minds. You can only watch so many reruns of Matlock. And, you know, they need entertainment and they need something, and something live is the best thing. And so this is actually, we have a gift. We have something that can help people make it through this crisis. And to withhold it is evil. To withhold it is selfish and evil. We have something that we can do that can help people dramatically and it can improve their lives. Let's get working on it, and let's get out there and let's do it. And at the same time, we'll be building our business. So Paul Draper has a really good take on this, and it's something I've said for a long time in my seminars on the 5 biggest mistakes that entertainers make with money. And that is, people think your job is to do magic shows. People think you get paid to do magic shows. You don't. You don't get paid to do magic shows. You get paid to work 9 to 5 during the week, booking the magic shows and doing the paperwork and paying your taxes and rehearsing the show and repairing your props and making them look pretty, polishing the coins, doing all of that, learning new material. That's what you get paid. That's what you get paid to do. Imagine doing the show is the reward. Doing the show is the dessert after dinner. Doing the show is the cherry on the sundae. That's a reward for us. We get to do our shows because we put in the time to run the business. You get paid to run your business, doing the shows. And so when people ask me how much my shows cost, I say, oh, the show's free. They're like, really? I say, yeah. But my walking in the door with almost 50 years of experience, that's what costs money. Everything that leads up to the show is what costs money.
That's a great way to put it. Because I mean, we're all asked, why do you charge? So even if it's just a restaurant guy who wants $175 for 3 hours, like, why so much? Well, okay, it's not because of these 3 hours.
The answer is because of the value I'm bringing. That's the other thing. People with pricing, I really, really get tired of seeing these things on the internet where people are like, well, it costs this much for gas and this much for rope and cards, and I spend this many hours practicing, and that's why I have to charge this much money. No. No, despite what I said before, that's not the attitude that we take. The client doesn't care what it costs us. In reality, we get paid to run the business, yes. But the client doesn't care what our costs are. They don't care that we've got mouths to feed. They do too. What they're paying for is the value we provide. And if what we provide is worth at least as much as they're paying, and ideally more than they're paying, then they're happy. I can't tell you how many times I've met with a little price resistance, and I've said to people, look, if you're not happy, don't pay. And at the end of the show, they're giving me a tip. Sometimes they're giving me a tip that's equal to the, I've gotten 100% tips. I've gotten 500% tips. Okay? Because people said, you're not charging enough. This is fantastic. By the way, if you're getting tips at your live shows, you're not charging enough. You're not charging enough. I don't want a tip. I'll tell you what I want. I want the referral to everybody else in the room. I want everybody else to book me for shows. I don't want the tips. So where were we? Oh, visual. Oh, so let's talk about Washington Magic. So we did this one show,
right?
And it went really well. We got a lot of great feedback. And there's a link right now on Washington Magic where you can actually see the virtual show. And if you go to the Facebook feed, there's a link there, and you can link on it, and you can go watch it for free. It's no problem. We're not charging for this. This is promo. What we're doing is we're using it to build our email list. Let me repeat that. We're doing these promos that we're dropping, and we're doing this virtual show that's live in quotes, but it's a pre-recorded show, parlor show. We're doing that to build our email list. We're saying to everybody, if you want to see more of this, the way you get notified about these is through the email list or joining the Facebook group. That's it. That's how you do it. But we like people to join the email list because what we want is we want people to say, boy, as soon as things open up, I want to see this live. So there's a giant pool of people. There's a huge pent-up demand for the live shows. So, and we may do 1 or 2 live Zoom shows before we're done, depending on how long things stay in lockdown. Once things are open, but we're not doing shows, like we can go to the Arts Club, which is our normal venue, but we can't necessarily do shows there yet. Then we would start doing promo and virtual shows from the Arts Club, because the Arts Club is another character in the show. When you have a historic colonial mansion like that, it's like being at the Magic Castle. You want to do it from there if you possibly can. And then, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Magic Castle doesn't start doing live Zoom shows for money. You know, you buy a ticket, you watch it live from the Magic Castle. That would be very smart of them to do it from the castle. Now we're going to switch down to the
Chicago Magic Lounge is doing it. Why? I don't know why the castle isn't jumped in yet. So.
That's right. That's right. And what they would be smart is to have 3 cameras set up, have one at the bar, one at the parlor, one at the close-up, and don't even do anything in the parlor because it's too big. It'll swallow them up. And then switch performers and have one performer that's preparing and setting up, you know, with a couple of people in the audience, you know, having the socially distanced members in the audience, you know, and then do the show and switch from the close-up to the parlor to the bar and back and forth. I think that would be genius. They could do that on network TV and make some serious money and promo the cast at the same time. Anyway, so we're doing the live show, the fake live shows, the video shows, to build the email list. We're trying to drive traffic, get people to sign up to the email list. Then we may or may not, and this has been so successful, we may or may not do the live Zoom shows. I don't know, it depends. And then once the Arts Club opens up, we'll start doing promo and live shows from the Arts Club on Zoom. And then once we're allowed to have people, we'll have people in and we'll do our normal dinner show. But it's not going to be normal. And this is the other thing you got to realize. I'm talking with party planners and who are doing bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs right now. And they're doing a combination of people. The family is in one place, the guests are another. Everybody's connected on Zoom, and there's entertainment that's in Zoom. There's entertainment that's at the family, you know, in their front yard at a distance. They're juggling or doing whatever. It's a combination of things, kind of hybrid shows that are partially online, partially there. People are greeting. Sometimes people are doing drive-by events. So it's time to get creative. The event planners are really hurting, but they're getting creative. And people are realizing that they can do things a little differently. So you're going to start getting calls. If you're a magician, you're well known in your area, you work with agents, you're going to get calls saying, do you have a Zoom show demo? So this is where doing these one-on-one shows, if you record all of them so you can go back and look at them and then delete the recording or download it. But you can review, you record, you do the show, you record, you review, record, review. You're going to get better fast doing that. One of my friends realized that he had a really old webcam from like 2001, and he went out and got a new one in less than 24 hours from Amazon. And then he realized that in Zoom he could, which you can, select his screen resolution, select his, you know, how sharp the image was. And he put on the new one and he got it up to, you know, HD, and all of a sudden, bam, now he looks fantastic. You know, and he also realized what he needs to do up close to the camera and far away. The other thing is, I may have mentioned this before, go to Jeff McBride's website or go to magicalwisdom.com and click on the Magic Classroom. All of those, you know, Jeff and his crew have been doing live shows on different platforms, especially Zoom, for 9 years. They've been doing weekly Monday night magic lessons for 9 years, and they've opened the doors, and all of the past, all the archive is free. You can go back, you can watch Eugene Burger teach stuff. You can watch Ross Johnson teach mentalism. You can watch all this stuff for free. Go back. In the last 10 weeks, they've had Lance Burton, Max Maven, all these people guesting on there. They got 2 guys from California, Phil Ackerley and Robert Bax, who are doing live shows, socially distanced live shows now, and they tell you how to do it. You don't have to feel your way through this. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Go to these guys who are already doing it successfully and learn from them. Go to Paul Draper's videos. Go to magicalwisdom.com. Click on the Magic Classroom. Watch the last 8 or 10 weeks. You'll be hooked. You will get so much good information. As I mentioned before, Derek Selinger, Selinger, Derek Selinger on YouTube has some great stuff on how to set up your stuff. We'll have stuff. We have stuff in the show notes from last time. I'm sure all the links.
Right.
You don't have to, reinvent the wheel. You don't have to learn how to do this from scratch. You can get the information on how to do it right from people who've already tested fast, failed fast, and adjusted fast. And then you can get out there and just get started. Again, well begun is half done. Get started. So that's our strategy is, fake live shows on video that look really good. Build our email list, live shows from the Arts Club if and when we can, and then build it up, because it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be 80 people in a room. It's going to be maybe 30 or 40 or maybe only 25. And that's great. You know why that's great? Because it makes it scarce. It means this live entertainment is now, there's a lot of people that are going to want it, and there are fewer seats. So what does that do? When you have a lot of demand and less supply, what happens to prices? That's right. You can raise your prices. You can raise your prices. A lot of people are saying, well, people are only going to pay 25, 30% of what they paid for my in-person shows. Really? Why is that? Aren't you providing the same value? In fact, you could argue you're providing more value because they don't have to, clean their house beforehand. And they don't have to worry about people stomping through. They don't have to host anybody. It's all online. It's easier for the client.
Yeah. How is your material going to change getting back onto the stage again?
Oh, wow. That's great. Well, my material, one of the things that they talk about that I've been learning about is there are zones. When you're doing it on the camera, there are 3 zones. There's the zone where you're right up in the camera, which is where you want the climax of certain things like coin tricks, small things, card predictions to happen. There's the place you're going to spend most of your time is zone 2, which is about 3 feet from the camera, 3 or 4 feet from the camera, where they can see down to about your belly button, or they can see your tabletop. And then zone 3 is when you move way back and they can see a cowboy shot, maybe down to your knee. And that's where you're doing things like the linking rings and hat coils and big things like that. You can do all of it. Some stuff doesn't work as well online because the props can't be seen that well. I would try to reduce the amount of card magic you're doing and do other things that are visual. Also online, people are less patient with a lot of procedural stuff. So if you have a lot of counting and spelling type tricks, those aren't so good. You want quick visual pops. Something like 3-fly is great. My bubble trick, as I said, you're doing a bubble catch, that's fantastic. I do have, if I'm going to do a procedural trick or a prediction trick where I'm asking the audience to make choices, I do one of those in a show, only one. Don't overdo it. Also be aware of texture and variety. I saw a show where the guy did 2 torn and restored effects, one right after the other. Those are nice, and those are both closers, but they should be in different shows. Those are closers for 2 different shows. I wouldn't put them in the same show. I wouldn't do 3 tricks with Equivoke in a row. That's just a waste of time. But you wouldn't do that in your regular show anyway, I hope. There's a lot of props you can use. As I said, you can use the electric deck that you might not use in a regular show. You can use it. It looks great. Anything that's really visual. I'm doing a lot of things with one kind of prop because it's kind of a branding thing for me. But it's really limitless. If there's stuff that you normally have people reach in and handle the props, that's not going to go as well, but you can still do egg bag online. It's just not going to be quite as strong as having the spectator reach in, feel the egg, and get that great look on their face, the reaction that shows that they were fooled, that the audience really feeds off of. Those moments don't happen as much, but you can do other things. You can set something up with the host of the show where they have a prop sitting behind the screen of the laptop, and you pretend to hand them a deck of cards through the camera, and they reach behind the laptop and there's a deck of cards, and you've mailed it to them before, and it can be gaffed or stacked or whatever. Okay, so you can really have some fun with this.
Well, what are the limitations going to be going back to the stage though? When we like to bring people up on stage, cards across, things like that.
In terms of people doing stuff. Well, I mean, it depends. There's a lot of humor here. There's a trick. There's a Tony Clark sells a trick, which has a bucket on the end of a long extendable pole, and you can actually buy one of these. It's like a window washing pole. You can put a hook on the end of it and hang out a plastic bucket. I went,